Stop using ChatGPT like it's Google. That's why your images and videos keep coming out inconsistent. The problem isn't the AI, the problem is your prompt structure. I'm using JSON prompting inside a content automation system to turn this into this. Same AI, same idea, completely different structure. In this video, I'll show you how to build a reusable JSON prompt system so that your AI outputs are predictable, controlled, and high quality every time. You'll understand the concept in minutes, and you'll have your own version up and running in about an hour. Quick context, my name is Kevin Kabu. I build content and business automation systems using AI, and I'm currently building a YouTube research assistant that uses JSON prompting to make AI outputs predictable. Let's get into it. So what is JSON prompting? JSON, or JavaScript Object Notation, is a technique used to get a very specific output from an AI model. So think ChatGPT, think Gemini, think Perplexity. JSON basically enables us to get very specific outputs from any AI models. And at this point, it would be great to introduce what prompt engineering is and what JSON or how JSON fits under prompt engineering. So what you could think about prompt engineering is it's the discipline of getting structured output. JSON is just a way in which it allows that by feeding an AI model a very structured way of generating the outcome that you want. So just basically a quick walkthrough into prompt engineering. So basically, we're just structuring instructions so that we can get better results. That's what prompt engineering is. And that's why there's been a whole hype and fuss about it, because it's basically garbage in, garbage out, because AI models basically are very good at predicting. So if you don't guide the kind of output you want to get from an AI tool, then you will not really get the best output. So basically a couple of strategies. It's in terms of prompt engineering, which is the discipline under which JSON prompting sits, writing clear and specific instructions, providing references, and then breaking down tasks is a really good way of getting these kind of outputs in terms of the discipline of prompt engineering. And a quick formula that we can use for prompt engineering is task, context, example, persona, and format. So basically, all these things come in to make a good prompt. In recent times, what I've come to learn is also specifying what happens when an error happens, or what to do and do not hallucinate. Those are also things that you can add into your prompt so that you can actually get a better result. So I'll just quickly walk through what each of these things mean. So you can see that the task and the context are mandatory, the example and the persona are important, and the format and the tone are nice to have, okay? So you don't need to have all 6 components for every prompt for a good result, but it would be good to have all of them, okay? So task, always start with a sentence like an action verb. So generate, analyze, give. You're giving someone a task or the model a task to do. So that's pretty simple and straightforward. Then we come into the context. You need to give out what is the background? What does success look like? What is the environment that someone is in? For example, if you're trying to get the best result in terms of prompt engineering. So here's an example. I'm a 100 kg male looking to lose 5 kg of fat. So I've given you the background. I've given you what success looks like for me. And I only have time to go to the gym 3 times a week. So create a 3-month training program to follow. So I've given the AI tool some context that it can work with to help generate the best result for me. Then we also have an example. So basically, you can guide it in terms of a framework that you would want to use. So getting accurate results gets better when you give the kind of output or example that you want. For example, if you're working on your CV and you want to structure specific answers and rehearse before you actually go in for that interview, so you could ask the AI to give you a good answer to, or this specific, what is your biggest weakness, using a very specific framework. What is situation, task, action, results? So this is basically the prompt based on my own CV. Please help me structure. Structure is the task. An answer to the interview question. What's your biggest weakness? Using a framework. That's the example. So adding, use the STAR framework is the actual example. Then we come into persona. What do you want the AI to think like? So for example, if you're trying to do anything around strategy as a business, you could say, think like an expert strategist. A key part here would be a pro tip if you could let this AI embody a specific person. So think if you're in tech, think like you're talking to Sam Altman, or you're talking like Jeff Bezos if it's e-commerce. Like give the AI a persona. And here are a few examples. So if you're injured, an experienced physical therapist with over 20 years of experience. If you're working on a brief, you are a senior project manager. And if you're working on a marketing strategy, you're a chief marketing officer with over 20 years of global experience. So you could also have Steve Jobs, Michelle Obama, whoever it is that you want to embody as the person. Then the format, basically what kind of output do you want it as? So if you want it as a table, if you want it as just 6 paragraphs, like a short email with 3 paragraphs, or you want a long story with 6 concrete paragraphs, each with 300 words, it's very good for you to tell the AI tool that this is what you want, this is the format. Okay? And then the tone, how do you want it to speak? This is great for emails, communications to clients, communications to suppliers. This is great for that. So use a casual tone, use a formal tone, voice, be professional, And a quick hack here, what you could do is you could actually go in and you ask the AI tool to recommend for you a list of 5 tone variations that you can use. Then you pick from that and tell it, okay, be confident and respectful as you communicate. So that's a quick tip. So that's basically what prompt engineering is. And JSON prompting just falls underneath that. So what are some use cases for JSON prompting? So I'm going to walk through 3 specific ones, which I use daily or frequently in my life. And one of them is setting up automation workflows. So remember, we're talking about very specific outputs. When you're doing automations and it involves AI, you can literally guide and tell the AI tool, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly how I'm going to present it to you. This is what I want you to give back to me. And for this specific example, I want to walk through my YouTube research brief architect. So this is a custom GPT that I've created to help me research the content that I'm creating on YouTube. So I want to walk you through exactly what the first step is. So it's not a complete product, but basically I want it to take in an idea that I have and give a specific JSON output that now will go in to the YouTube API and actually pick those specific points. So what do I mean by this? So for example, right now, let's say I'm thinking of an AI chatbot for WhatsApp sales. So the first step within this custom GPT or research brief architect, it's an automation. So I'm setting up a workflow where, if I was to give you a bit more context, I give it an idea. It goes into YouTube, pulls out the top 15 topics that has the most views that is recent within the last, let's say, 365 days. And it has this number of engagement rates, this number of, likes, follows, basically just data on the channel that will help me say, okay, this topic is worth creating content around and actually solves a problem for the people who I'm targeting. Okay. So the first step in this, as I had mentioned, is getting this brief to be very clear because it's an automation. So I want it to give me a very specific way or I want it to operate in a very specific way as it does this research, because I'm not going to be part of that process up until a certain point. So I'll just say my idea, AI chatbot for WhatsApp sales. So when I click that, you're going to see the output that it's going to give me is going to be very specific. So you can see it's going in specific steps. So idea summary, build or adopt an AI chatbot that runs in WhatsApp to qualify leads, answer questions, recommend items, blah, 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 blah. Target audience, small to mid-sized businesses selling via WhatsApp. Okay. Primary angle, practical implementation and workflow. So this is what it's taking this data and it's going to communicate with the YouTube API to pull videos that fit this criteria. So here is the primary keyword it's going to search for is WhatsApp AI sales chatbot. It's also going to search for WhatsApp chatbot for sales, WhatsApp business API chatbot, all that. Then search queries. This is what now a human being would search like. So WhatsApp AI chatbot for sales setup, WhatsApp chatbot lead qualification script, okay? And we have a few other parameters. Remember, very specific outputs that you expect. So there's a recency window, that's 1 year. The size of the shortlist or the number of videos that it's going to give me back is going to be 15. The language is English, the region, I really don't care. And the scoring bias is balanced. So this is basically what my prompt has yielded. It's yielded a JSON output for an automation that I'm setting up. And how this was set up is I just came in and I created a custom GPT. And basically, you can see that my description here is transforms raw YouTube content into structured ideas, execution ready research briefs based on best practices, blah, blah, blah. So the instructions. You're a YouTube research brief architect. You do not perform research. You do not generate titles. You do not rank or judge videos. You focus on clarifying intent, defining research, blah, blah, blah. So basically all these things is, you can see this is where my JSON comes in. So I've instructed it to give me output in a very specific way. So if the user asks a question or provides your response must still end with a valid research brief in this schema unless explicitly told otherwise. Okay? So I haven't done anything else. It's just that. So this is just the first step of creating the custom GPT that falls under how to use JSON for setting up automation workflows because you want very specific outputs. So the second use case for JSON prompting is video generation using video generation tools powered by AI like Sora, Gemini, and any other. So basically what this entails, the step-by-step process, step one is going in and creating a custom gem or a custom GPT. Custom gem is for Gemini, custom GPT, programming specific instructions that generate the JSON format or the JSON prompt. Then number three, you take that JSON prompt and prompt it into the video generation tool. So I'll show you how exactly I've done that. So what I did is I used ChatGPT and Gemini. ChatGPT is the custom GPT. So it's what I put the actual instructions like. So this is how it looks like on the back end. So video prompt to JSON generator is the name of this custom GPT. So the description of this custom GPT is turn ideas and reference videos into tool agnostic JSON short plans. So what this basically means is it can take in a reference video, pick out a few elements from that reference video and generate a JSON that can work with any AI video generator. Okay. So, and that's all in these instructions. So these instructions read, you're a prompt spec architect. So you transform an idea, optionally informed by any reference video, into a single stable JSON using a specific schema. And schema is like the format, and you'll see it in a few minutes. So these are just implicit instructions. So we have cooperating principles, we have mode-driven behavior, we have reference video handling. We have all these things that ensure that the output that we're getting is extremely specific. So that's the first thing, just programming or tuning this custom GPT. Then step two is you actually prompt it. So my prompt was product launch ad for a new brand of craft beer called Kazana. So this is the JSON that my custom GPT generated based on the instructions. So I took these specific instructions and brought them into Gemini. Okay, so you can see it here. This is the exact same prompt. And here it is. So I generated two of them. I generated two videos using the custom, the JSON prompt. So check out this first one. So you see, this is cinematic, punchy. It has room for you to add specific elements inside there in terms of video editing, if that's the field that you're in. And also, let's have a look at this. So again, you're seeing it's showing different angles. It's like trying to say, okay, this is the manufacturing process and all that, a bit more cinematic. Then let's come in here and watch what this looks like with just the normal prompt. And this is the same prompt that I used to generate my JSON prompt. So this is what that looks like.
Kazana. Crafted for the moment.
So I feel like with this video, this specific one, it's a great video. The only thing is you don't have room for like creativity, stitching it together. It's like it's created a final product. And I got the same vibe here.
I cannot believe we finally made it! Cheers, everyone! I cannot believe we finally made it! Cheers, everyone!
So you can see like the difference between the two is like these are finished products. The editing that you can do here is very little, as opposed to here, there's a bit more that you can add, remove. You can take a specific scene and now use it and, you know, add some more creativity, more elements. You can add a custom label to this bottle. And, you know, like there's just about a bit more leeway you have with this video. And that's the power of JSON prompting when it comes to video generation. And the third use case for JSON prompting is image generation. So I personally like to use Gemini. Nano Banana is great for image generation. And I just want to show you how I've programmed a gem. A gem is exactly like a custom GPT in Gemini to help me generate thumbnails for my YouTube video. So as opposed to creating a custom GPT in ChatGPT, I just thought it prudent to create a gem within Gemini because that's the AI tool I'm using for image generation. So what that looks like is this. So it's basically the same thing. The interface is generally the same. And I've just called it YouTube thumbnail prompt to JSON architect. So it basically creates JSON that enables me to edit my YouTube thumbnails in Nano Banana. And Nano Banana is the image generation tool for Gemini. So when I look at it here, these are just the instructions that I've pasted into the gem so that I can get that JSON that I want out of Gemini. So I want to show you what. So I'm trying to create a thumbnail. I'm just doing it's an exercise I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to edit a thumbnail that I can use for my YouTube video, and I was just doing some thinking around it. So what I did is I just took a reference thumbnail that I liked on YouTube, and I took a picture of myself exactly the same way. So this I'm just using natural language. I said use the first image to generate to use the first image as a reference for a thumbnail. And I want you to pick the styling of the image to edit my own picture, the second image, in the same style. And honestly, even with just text, like Nano Banana is great. Like it's actually quite fantastic because this is what it outputs. So it picked the exact background. It just took me out and it took the exact same format. So with this red line here, and this red line is just because I was watching the YouTube video and I took a screenshot of the thumbnail. So this is like the bar that shows you how far you've progressed in the video. Then I just said have the logos in the logos right above my hands. And you can see they've moved from the back to the front. And even with just text, it's honestly great. But with JSON, it's even a bit more specific. First thing you can see is, so this is what my gem generated. This is the actual JSON. So I just upload my image And this is the JSON that was generated from this custom gem here. Okay, so the prompt was generally the same, and it just created this output here, which talks about the variation, how it's going to look. All this is what that gem outputted and to apply to this image. And you can see that first difference is, number one, you can see the background is the same. And number two, the logos are already in my hands. So I think it's a bit more specific, like in terms of how it's prompting it. Either way, Nano Banana is great. I'm just saying, like, for the JSON side, the JSON prompting works just a bit better when it comes to generating images. Because you can see, if you compare this, it took the exact background. Here, it kept my background. It kept me in the image. It just overlaid the text, which is what I wanted. Here, I'd have to do a bit more prompting, remove the red line and all that. And that's the power of using JSON to prompt. You get the exact outputs that you want. And so that brings us to the end of today's video. If you'd like to learn how to create a realistic AI clone of yourself using HeyGen and 11 Labs, please watch this video here. We're going to detail on how to do exactly that. Let me know in the comments what kind of videos you guys want to see, whether it's sales, marketing, finance, and I'll be sure to make some content on that. Thank you.